Greetings and welcome to the Gadget 360 show. I have a fantastic lineup of stuff for you. Can I give you some examples? Okay, start off with the Legion 7, one of the most powerful gaming laptops we've ever reviewed on the show. Combines the most powerful mobile AMD CPU and Nvidia GPU. Excellent, this is what we loved. 165Hz QHD display, and it really prioritizes efficiency along with power. Great laptop, and we'll tell you why. Our next one is the Fitbit Charge 5. This is a no gimmicks, to the point, powerful fitness tracker. Tracks a wide variety of statistics and metrics, comes with a stainless steel casing, looks good, works well, like I said, no gimmicks. And then we'll move on to my favorite new action camera, the DJI Action 2. This is a very well thought out device. A modular action camera with magnetic accessories, can record 4K footage up to 120 frames per second. Dust-proof, waterproof body, weighing in at just 57 grams. And then we'll move on to the PS5 Revisited. Yes, I know a lot of you are going to say, what Revisited? We haven't even been able to get our hands on it. Well, if you're trying to get your hands on it now, well, this would be the review to watch. The different outlandish design has held up well. I think everybody's kind of taken to it. New faceplates have been launched in different colors. Support for a second SSD has been added. Loads of games have now been launched and many exclusive titles coming up. So we'll tell you, is it now the right time to buy it if you can get your hands on it? That and a whole lot more. Let's get started.
Earlier this week, Microsoft announced its plans to acquire Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion. This means that all of the popular game franchises like Call of Duty, Diablo, Warcraft and Overwatch will be published by Microsoft. Once the acquisition is complete, Microsoft plans to include most of the games from Activision to the Xbox Game Pass subscription service, which recently crossed 25 million subscribers. It is aimed that the deal will be closed before the end of the fiscal year 2023, which means it can take more than a year for the deal to be approved. The announcement comes almost a year after Microsoft's announcement of acquiring Bethesda Studios for $7.5 billion. Garmin has revealed the new VENU 2 Plus. It comes with two features completely new for a Garmin smartwatch. It can make calls while connected to a smartphone. The user can also trigger Siri, Google Assistant or Bixby depending on their phone right from the VENU 2 Plus. The design and capabilities are mostly the same as the VENU 2 and the VENU 2S launched a while ago. It has a 43mm dial with Corning Gorilla Glass 3 on the front and stainless steel bezels. It also has the same features and capabilities that both of the other two smartwatches do. The watch is priced at $46,990 and will be available in graphite black, cream gold and powder grey.
Our top story is a laptop that we've all really liked. The Legion 7 comes with a solid metal build, has an RGB light bar going all around the chassis, great port selection, lots and lots of options, excellent keyboard for typing but mainly for gaming, powerful loud speakers, quad HD panel. The display is fantastic, 100% sRGB color gamut, and it has absolutely stellar gaming performance with 100 plus frames per second on most titles. Battery life better than most gaming laptops. Is priced at, well, that's the part that you may not like too much, 2,71,000.
Lenovo's Legion series has long been the absolute best when it comes to combining specs, hardware and experience. While we reviewed the excellent Legion 5 Pro, we're also taking a look at the Legion 7 and, to be specific, the AMD version of it to see what it does well and what it doesn't. Now, the Legion 7 looks and feels exactly like a laptop that went all out in every way. A solid all-metal build, RGB light that goes all the way around the sides of the chassis. It even shines out of the vents on the side and the rear, along with shining through the keyboard. The effects and colors can be cycled through with the function button on the keyboard. While the matte grey finish looks subtle, the RGB lighting is enough to make the laptop the complete opposite of it. But we're not complaining. And the chassis gets really thick when you compare it to most laptops, but it's actually much slimmer when you consider the kind of performance it can output. The excellence in design is also evident in the location and collection of ports. One USB Type-C 3.2 Gen 2 port on the left side along with a headphone jack, one USB-A 3.2 Gen 1 port on the right side, and one USB Type-C 3.2 Gen 2 port, three USB-A 3.2 Gen 1 ports, an Ethernet jack and a proprietary charging port on the back. Up front, the laptop sports an excellent keyboard that works well for both gaming and typing. The trackpad is smooth, big and very easy to use. The speakers are extremely impressive and a big step up from the usual laptop speakers. But it does lack a fingerprint scanner and Windows Hello Face unlock. Moving the gaze above to the display, it is an extremely impressive panel. A Quad HD panel with a 16:10 aspect ratio, 100% sRGB color gamut, 437 nits of peak brightness and an amazing refresh rate of 165 Hz. It lacks a G-Sync certification from Nvidia, which is a shame, although in our testing the display has worked well throughout. Right above the display is an average 720p webcam. It can be disabled with a switch on the right side of the laptop. In terms of specs, the Legion 7 combines the best of Team Red and Team Green. It comes equipped with the top-of-the-line AMD mobile CPU, the Ryzen 9 5900HX, the Nvidia GeForce RTX 3080 GPU, 32GB of RAM and a 1TB SSD. But the SSD in question here is only PCIe Gen 3 instead of Gen 4, which is another bummer. In terms of raw performance, the Legion 7 has been excellent so far. It does not get the extremely high numbers of the Intel variant, but it isn't a slouch either. All the games tested ran extremely smooth, with all of the settings maxed out to the highest graphic preset and resolution limited to 1080p. We got 100 to 110 FPS on Forza Horizon 5, 100 to 105 FPS on Halo Infinite, 120 to 150 FPS on Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and 80 to 85 FPS on Doom Eternal. And even with 4K video editing workflows on Premiere Pro and DaVinci Resolve, the performance is stellar. Throughout the sustained high workload, the fans kick up significantly but never enough to cause any disturbance, and the laptop only gets warm, never too hot to the touch, all because of the efficiencies of the AMD chip inside. And even though battery life is never supposed to be the strong suit of gaming and workstation laptops, this one does last through 5 to 6 hours of average use, again because of the efficiencies of the AMD processor inside the laptop. The Legion 7 has one of the most powerful specs, but at the same time it does lack a few significant features of the Intel variant like Thunderbolt 4 ports, G-Sync certification, PCIe Gen 4 SSD, but despite that, the performance and numbers output by the laptop are beyond stellar, and combining that with an extremely good-looking chassis, strong build and great display makes it an easy recommendation for the price of 2,71,000 rupees.
Let's move on now to our next review. This is the Fitbit Charge 5. Now look, like I said right in the beginning when I introduced this is a no frills, absolutely no gimmicks, basic practical design Fitbit Charge. Stainless steel casing, considerable amount of bezel around the display up front. That I think is something they could have done something about. 10.4-inch colored AMOLED display which can stay always on, tracks a whole lot of stats including breathing rate, heart variability, skin temperature variation, lots of these. And the battery life is okay. You can get about 7 days of battery life with always on display disabled, but then why would you do that? Well, the price also is not too bad, 14,999.
The approach of simplicity is sadly uncommon and yet the best approach to making a product. Based on this approach is the Fitbit Charge 5. It does not go for the bells, the whistles, the headliners. It aims to be the fitness tracker that is simply excellent, accurate, and does exactly what it is expected to do. And in the next few minutes, you will know how it does all of this and more while being the most to-the-point tracker you will find today. The design of the Charge 5 is basic and practical. It comes with a screen up front with a considerable amount of bezels above and below the display. The sides come with sensors for EDA and ECG function of the tracker. The rest of the casing is made out of stainless steel, which provides the durability one needs from the fitness band while they work out. The bands come with quick release latches, and that is pretty much it. The screen, the sensors, the band with no sign of buttons. Up front is a 1.04-inch colored AMOLED display. It looks sharp and has the brightness needed to be usable under the sun. And since it is AMOLED, the display has an always-on feature available. The UI on the tracker is also very simple. Everything works through swipes and taps. Swiping left or right opens different apps on the tracker like notifications, exercises, alarms, timers, EDA scan, ECG. Swiping up shows the Today app, which lists out the activity stats from the day, and swiping down shows quick settings one can access. Pretty simple and to the point. And the aspect that makes this tracker stand out is the sheer number of things it can track. It tracks your workouts, steps, blood oxygen levels, sleep in 3 different stages, breathing rate, heart variability, and skin temperature variation. The Charge 5 does this with complete accuracy. The tracker also has an EDA sensor to check the user's body's response to stress. The tracker can also conduct ECG scans to keep a check on the rhythm of the user's heart. It also comes with GPS insight to precisely track the user's runs and walks. And based on all of these abilities, the Charge 5 can combine different stats tracked and award scores based on these stats. Scores like stress management score, sleep score, daily readiness score help the user in keeping a long-term track of how their health is changing and improving over time. While all of these scores help, not all of them will be available for free, as they will need a Fitbit Premium membership for ₹100 a month. The membership also provides access to guided meditation routines and guided workouts. However, the user does get 6 months of premium membership with the purchase of the Charge 5. But all is not perfect. The lack of buttons can often complicate moving through the UI of the watch. Always on display is a great feature, but it reduces the 7-day battery life on the device to just 2 to 3 days. And the screen itself is way too small for displaying necessary workout information at times. And yet, the simple approach with accurate sensors, useful sensors, and great build quality make this fitness tracker one of the very best available. And at the price of $14,999, it gets a firm recommendation from us.
Let's move on now to the DJI Action 2. Like I said, my favorite action camera for the moment. You know, it's actually amazing, the marvel of engineering and technology inside this little cube. Small little cube weighing less than 57 grams. Magnet and clips used to attach to different accessories, and don't think those magnets are not powerful. They are industrial level, literally. Most useful accessories in the box is the extra screen and battery module. It adds an extra button, USB-C port, micro SD card slot. Storage in the camera is limited to 32 GB, but you can do so much more with the extra card slot. 12 megapixel sensor with a 155-degree field of view can record 4K footage at 120 frames per second. Extremely stable footage. We tried it in every which way you can take an action camera absolutely to the test. It just flew through it all. Priced at $39,990.
Action cameras. Tiny but powerful. Meant to fit anywhere, sit anywhere. Meant to get the most dramatic shots one can think of. And since they have to do it all, the design choices need to be smart, unique, and innovative. And what we have today is exactly that. DJI Action 2. An action camera with an extremely smart and innovative design. And just how does it do that? Well, that's what we are here to know. The DJI Action 2 is designed like a small cube. It weighs less than 57 grams. There is a screen on one side, a sensor on the other, a button to control it up top, and magnets and power pins underneath. Dust-proof, waterproof up to the depth of 10 meters in water. The magnets are used to attach other accessories to the camera. This works out smartly since all the accessories supported by it come with 2 clips and magnets to easily detach when not needed without the user needing to stop recording. The camera does come with some accessories in the box. A mount with an adhesive back to be stuck anywhere for a shot that needs it. A mount that can be screwed onto another mount. And a magnetic pendant to be worn under the shirt by the user to attach the camera to the user's chest for first-person shots. But the most useful one is the display and battery module. This module adds extra battery power, a screen on the side same as the lens, an extra recording button, a USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and a micro SD card slot, all of which are needed for the camera. The screen and extra button are for users who want to record themselves, and the micro SD card slot adds to the limited 32 GB internal storage of the camera. But this attachment does come with a caveat. Even though the camera itself is dust-proof and waterproof, the module isn't. To make it so, extra cash needs to be spent on a case. The sensor on the camera is a 12 megapixel 155-degree ultra-wide lens with an f2.8 aperture. It can record up to 4K resolution at 120 FPS. While most shots look great, low-light shots can at times show a certain degree of noise. Most shots have saturated and punchy colors, and the color profile is good enough for the video to be uploaded without needing to be color corrected. The camera comes with DJI's Rocksteady Stabilization 2.0, responsible for the stable footage. And with the 4K recording possible, 32 GB of internal storage might worry you, but don't let it, as the battery life on the camera is the bigger bottleneck. Recording time is limited to only 10 to 15 minutes at 4K 120 FPS. And since the screen and the battery module adds 40 minutes of battery life to the camera, the option of a microSD card slot on the module makes complete sense. And reducing the resolution to 1080p does end up doubling the battery life on the camera. The DJI Action 2 is an action camera designed smartly. Its modularity via magnets is efficient with its ease and effective with the solution brought by the accessories. And merging this with the quality of shots it is capable of recording makes it an excellent action cam, worth it at the price of 39,990 rupees for the variant with the screen and battery module.
Let's take a quick break right now. When we come back, lots more happening on the Gadget 360 show. Our next story is the PS5 revisit again. I'll say it. Yes, I know there's a lot of murmur out there from all of you. Why are you revisiting something we can't even buy right now? But if you wanted to buy right now, this is the review that will tell you should you. So design as head-turning as it was at launch. A lot of people alienated at that time. I think it's grown on everybody. Plastic stand that comes with it is still flimsy, easily breakable. So I don't know why they've not been able to do something about that. New console covers have come, of course, launched to change the white and black combination, get a different change. Heatsink size has been reduced, which leads to newer models running 1 to 2 degrees hotter. The support for extra SSD slot has been added, but I don't have any better news for you. It's still as unavailable as it was at launch. Price still starts at 39,990.
The PlayStation 5 when it came out created waves in most of its aspects. The power, the SSD, the controller, the design, the sales, and the complete lack of availability. And more than a year later, a lot of these things have stayed true to the initial waves. But is there anything that has changed? Did something get better? Did something get worse? All the answers will be here in the next few minutes. Let's start with the design. It is just as head-turning as it was the day it was revealed. And it is also just as much of a pain to easily place around your TV. The plastic stand it comes with is necessary to keep it stable, but at the same time, it is flimsy and easily breakable. From something that is still as bad, here is something that has seen a big change. The faceplates. Sony has launched new faceplates, or console covers as they like to call it, in different colors apart from white. And they have the controllers to match them too. Going inside the design, there is a change, at least in the newer units. The heatsink, which used to be much bigger, has been reduced in size, which reduced the weight of the game station by a bit. But this leads to another change, which is the console running hotter, by 1 to 2 degrees at the very least, which, while not significant, might be something to look out for in the future. But the internal component that was positively impacted is the slot for the extra SSD. It started working as the long-promised software update that enabled the slot arrived. A huge relief for every user, as the usable storage on the system was limited to 667 GB. And when it comes to how the model has fared out in terms of performance, it is just as solid, just as fast, and just as quiet. And the controllers? Apart from the drifting directional sticks, the controllers have performed well. The haptics have held up, but what is lacking is developers taking advantage of them. And the white plastic in some cases turns yellow with use over time. But a console is made or broken by the games it has. Most games are bound to look good with the internals that the gaming machine has, but the exclusive titles are the ones that look absolutely stunning. Spider-Man Miles Morales was one of the most beautiful launch titles of the PS5. Then came along Ratchet & Clank and Returnal, PS5 exclusives which took advantage of all the new hardware on the game station. Followed by big titles like Resident Evil Village, F1 2021, It Takes Two, and Deathloop. And all of the titles perform at a consistent 60 frames per second. Privileged and exclusives like Ghost of Tsushima and Spider-Man got beautiful upgrades in terms of frame rate, textures, density, draw distance, and details. And with the titles like God of War Ragnarok, Gran Turismo 7 and Horizon Forbidden West coming out this year, Insomniac's Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine coming out in the years that follow, it looks like an exciting future for the PlayStation 5, especially with exclusive titles. The PlayStation 5 has gotten better in most of the aspects and complaints except some. And the biggest complaint of all is the lack of availability. Even with 13.4 million units sold, the shelves mostly remain empty, with the global chip shortage and the unrelenting demand. But despite that, with all the games available, all of the games on the way, and just how well the console has held up so far, it is an even better option than it was at launch. So if you find it in stock, be it the digital edition or the disc one, we would recommend you to get one quickly at the starting price of $39,990.